good morning, depending on your particular situation. My name is Rick Babick, and I thank you for coming to this IHA-sponsored webinar. This is about Homestats. It's a new program from IHA, and I am told that you can ask us questions as we go, that you have a screen on the right-hand side of your screen that you can type questions in, and we'll try to answer your questions as we go. And also for your information, this is being recorded, and at the end of the presentation there will be a web link that you can go to. It'll show up on the IHA website, and it'll have a recording that has the document that we're sharing, as well as it'll play along as we speak. And I'm told that that will be available probably early next week. So with that, let's get started. My name is Rick Babick. Our company is Design Research, and with me today is my colleague, Janine Mahalik. And with that, okay. There we go. Okay. So the background about Homestats is as follows. The IHA has often asked for industry data, especially sales and share data. And that's really hard to deliver because there's many, many product categories encompassed by everything that the membership participates in. And there's a lot of channels of distribution that you are all in. And there's a lot of filters that you look at your products through. There are resources available for tracking sales through retailers, but they're pretty costly, and they're too costly for many member companies. Last year, the IHA revised its mission statement, and we've highlighted two aspects of it that are new at the bottom of this statement, and that is gathering and disseminating essential marketplace intelligence and educating and supporting key constituencies to improve their success. That's really what spurred this program. The IHA wants to help more people with their business. And as such, they have supported us in creating a low-cost consumer purchase tracking system in order to bring market information to more companies in the industry systematically and in a timely fashion. Now, again, feel free to submit questions anytime. We'll try to answer them as we go. But before proceeding, let me just take a few moments to introduce us and our company so you have a sense of who's talking. When I attend a webinar or a seminar, I like to know who I'm listening to. So just a couple of quick slides on us. We are a full-service research firm. We're located in New Jersey, central New Jersey. We do quantitative research, qualitative research like focus groups and in-depth. We do a lot of product testing, mostly focused in home goods areas such as housewares and tabletop and home furnishings. And we do deep dive ethnographic type studies. And then we also do a lot of trends tracking. In Chicago at the Housewares show for 3 years now, we've been presenting the American Living Survey, which is a survey of design and lifestyles in people's homes. We run Bridal Monitor, which tracks bridal registrations in these categories. And Assortment Styler tracks trends. It's more a retailer-related service, but it tracks trends in products in the marketplace in terms of style. And lastly, today is Homestats that we'll be talking about. But just to give you a little further sense of what we are, we're really the only research company we know of that exists at the intersection of research and design. We know how to talk to clients and consumers about design. We know how to translate market offerings into design segmentations that consumers can relate to. And we have our own design segmentation system that includes color pattern, style, material, that sort of thing. So we know how to test design. And yet we are a full service company, and we help our clients with product development, brand development, consumer profiling, all that sort of information. And I think one of the things that we're most proud of in our 16 years in business is that we have many, many clients we have 60 years of research experience between us. We're both research directors formerly, and as I said, we have a client list that I'm really proud of, and we have some of the biggest names in housewares and in tabletop and in some of the biggest retailers. I skipped over a slide back there if you want to see what we look like. Obviously, I'm the old guy on the top there, and I founded Design Research 16 years ago in '98. Previous to that, I was the research director at Lennox for 16 years, and prior to that, I was doing research for Remington Rand Corporation. My colleague Jane, who will talk a little bit later, started her career at Opinion Research in the multivariate group, and then she joined us at Lennox, where she spent 16 years, the last half of which was as the director of research. So between us, we've been in this business for quite a long time and have quite a bit of experience. Again, client list, and then on to Homestats. So Homestats is a quarterly online survey. We're talking to 2,000 male and female heads of households who've purchased one or more housewares products in the past 3 months. We started in the fourth quarter of 2014, and we've just completed the first quarter, and the second quarter wave will go out July 1st. In each quarter, we're asking about your purchases in the last 3 months. These are the product categories we started with, the ones in gray, the first 8. And then in the first quarter, we added 2 more. That's cutlery and beverageware. If you are not in one of these categories, please don't hang up or give up on us. We intend to add lots of categories. In fact, if you are sitting there saying, well, I really want them to do my category, please email me and tell me what it is that your category is, and please be as specific in defining your category as you can. I have an email on my desk that I just got yesterday in which someone asked for us to cover kitchen. Since kitchen pretty much describes most of the products that you'll see at McCormick Center at the show, that's not specific enough. We really need you to be specific and tell us how you define your category. Homestats has a lot of information in it. Instead of going through each and every one of these, I'll actually show you a sample chart. The reports are about 40 pages long. Again, they come out quarterly. We start with a market size projection. Now, what I've done here is I've just pulled pages at random from different product categories, and so it's all real data, but we've just masked which product category it is. So you'll get a market size projection for the 12 months and for the quarter, and again, these are all projected category by category. And our projection is based on our looking at the number of items and the amount that people are purchasing, and we're just multiplying it all out by the number of households, the frequency of purchases, the percentage who are purchasing, and a seasonality factor. It's really kind of straightforward. Then among the deliverables, the first thing you see is whether products in your category are sold in sets or individually. And we give you the price ranges for everything that is sold each way. So you can see in this category, 37% of the products were sold as singles, and the distribution of price is below that. Obviously, it looks like the average price there is about $10. Probably closer to about 15, but a good deal of it is right in that 10 to 15 price range. If your category was sold in sets, there would be another page just like this one that gives you the percentage of the market sold in sets with a similar price distribution. If what the product is made of matters in your category, we ask what it's made of. I think this was mixing bowls. The reason for asking, of course, is that some people in this category would only look at other people who are perhaps in ceramics or glass or high-end like copper or something. But at any rate, you clearly would not want to be comparing the prices of, say, plastic mixing bowls with copper mixing bowls. Okay, and then for each category, again, we give you the total number of brands that we captured purchases for the quarter. We give you the number of brands that have a share over half a point or less than half a point. We tell you the percentage of the volume that the top 5 brands captured and the percentage of the volume that the top 10 brands captured. And then we give you the brands with their shares for the time period. And of course, this presentation is based only on the fourth quarter. But now, if we were doing this and you were buying the report, you'd see the first 2 columns filled in. And then we translate that into the projected volumes for the categories. And so you can see the projected dollar volume for each brand, totaling up to the quarterly and the annual, or the projected 12-month volume. Now I'm going to go back actually a slide and make a comment. One thing we noticed early along is that the not sure, don't know the brand name was about 30%, which kind of concerned us because it feels like it's a pretty high number. So in the next wave, in the first quarter, we asked people to go and actually look at the product and figure out what the brand name is, and then come back and record the brand name. And that was very successful. That not sure, don't know number fell in half. But what's interesting is that about half of the not sure, don't knows came back saying that the brand is not marked. It just has no, the product is not marked. It has no brand name. Like the dollar volumes, we also give you the volumes for the retailers. And we ask the question, where did you buy the product? And we give them a list that they can check off. And some of the list is named stores, such as those that you see on this page. And some of the list is just channels. So it says other department stores, such as Dillard's, Belk's, Boscov's, Bon-Ton, Shopko, or Burlington. Other kitchen specialty stores, such as, etc. On both of these pages, following the fourth quarter, in the first quarter, we added quite a few, not only brands or retail brands, to expand the list, but we also added, as you can see below, 4 new channels as well. Again, this is all from what people are writing in, so we're learning how to expand it and capture more and more information about where purchases are occurring. So you then get a page like this that shows you the share by channel. Just as you saw share by brand, this is share by channel. And that's then translated into the same dollar volume projections. So you can see the dollar volumes that we're projecting for each of the channels. And then in this data, the named stores are rolled in. Next, we have the named stores that are not rolled in just by themselves. And again, this is their share. This doesn't add up to 100% because many answers are other. But you can then see that we've translated their volumes, their shares, into volumes based on the projections as well. Now, from there, we ask, regardless of where you purchased it, was this purchase made online? And for whatever category this was, we found that 18% of the purchases were made online. And among the things that we are able to do is look at who's making these purchases. So, for example, we found that online purchases were significantly more likely to be made by men and also by wedding gift purchases. Again, we look at all of the data by many different demographics, and that enables us to say statistically men are making more online purchases. We also can see which stores have the highest incidence of online purchase, and for this category it was Bed Bath, and that's no doubt high because they also have a strong wedding business. Oops, sorry, I went the wrong way. And talking about wedding, we also asked, was this purchase wedding related? And so far, about 11% or so, I'm sorry, for this category, whatever it is, about 11% were wedding related. And it's pretty low for most of the categories because the categories we started with are generally lower priced categories. We expect that this will get higher when we get into things like appliances. But what is interesting is that we found that wedding purchases tend to be higher average prices than non-wedding purchases. We can also identify which brands are the top brands in wedding and which retailers are the top retailers in each category for wedding-related purchases. Then we give you, for each category again, we give you kind of a comparison of the demographics of the category with U.S. households. So you can see in this case that whatever the category is, it matched almost identically to U.S. households by gender, but it appears to be a bit higher for Gen Y and Gen X, and much, much lower for the silent generation. Income-wise, it's because it seems to be skewing a bit lower in age. I'm saying that backwards. It's actually, yeah, it's lower in the 50K, so we're a bit higher in the hundreds, or rather in the middle section there. We're about even on marital status. We can also look at brands. So, for example, for this category, brand number 2 skews much, much older. It's about 15% versus all of the other other generations there. So you probably wouldn't want to be brand number 2 and getting all your business from the seniors. Again, this is the kind of information that we can get out of this. We can also look at it by channel of distribution, and we can look at it by individual stores to see how they're doing. So, for example, Walmart on household income skewed higher at the lower end of the range versus the other categories. So that's kind of an overview of the reports. I'm going to hand it off now to my colleague Janine, and she's going to give you just some cross-category findings.
Alrighty. Just a quick overview or review of what Rick has shared. That was basically a sample of an individual category report. So if you were buying, cutlery or mixing bowls, that was all the information you would be receiving. And obviously there's a lot of benefits to having that information, identifying areas of weakness and opportunities for growth for your brands and your products, creating action plans to foster long-term results, really just trying to monitor the effects of your marketing strategies and figuring out, is it impacting the market in terms of your shares? Are they changing on a quarterly basis? You'll understand the pricing in the market, and are you priced correctly, or are there price segments that you're missing? Are you competing with the right brands that you think you're competing with price-wise, et cetera? Gives you obviously very clear understanding of the distribution channels and all of your competitors. So what you don't get if you're only purchasing, 1 or 2 categories is the bigger picture of the benefit that Rick and I have of seeing all of the product categories and all of the data. So we're just put together a few charts that kind of share some of those findings and highlights from looking at the broader perspective. So the first one is showing basically that Housewares is very, very competitive, and that there are a lot of brands and a lot of brands that have very small shares. This chart is going across all of those initial 8 categories that we started with on fourth quarter, and we're showing the number of brands tracked and the number of brands with shares. The percent share of the top 5 brands in the category, you can see the average on the bottom in the gold there is 30%. So on average, the top 5 brands garner 30% of the share. And in a lot of other categories that we work in, for example, in fine china, the top 5 brands there would get 80% of the market. And it's not to say that there's fewer brands, because there's certainly, I would say probably at least 60 brands in tabletop, but there are clear industry leaders, and the top 5 brands get a larger share of the market. So I think this is showing that there's a lot of opportunity for branding, and there's a lot of categories where there aren't clear-cut industry leaders or big brands. On the top 10, you know, it only gains another 10 percentage points, so it only goes from 30% to 40%. Rick kind of went into this already. You know, after doing fourth quarter, we found that there were a lot of other distribution channels out there that we weren't really considering. So by doing the first initial quarter, we got back from the consumers that they were purchasing from all of these other places, which we've now added into the surveys. So, you know, we have the market shares for each of these kind of, you know, alternate channels that a lot of us don't think about, but there are, you know, business going on in these channels, and you can see for your categories how much business, and maybe is that an opportunity worth pursuing. Again, as Rick shared, we can look at the data by, you know, generations and incomes and gender, et cetera. And this kind of shows you an overview of who's purchasing for each category by generation. And these are indexes. So if we look, for example, across mixing bowls, the 136 index by Gen Y means they're 36% more likely than the other generations to purchase that category. So the yellow, the cells that are highlighted in yellow are cells that are 15% higher or more than the other generation. So what we can see here is, you know, overall in these categories, the Gen Y and Boomers are more likely to be purchasing than Gen X and Boomers. So those are the two kind of key target audiences. Of course, Gen Y is now 20 to 35. And while they are very large, they're currently still smaller than both of Gen X and Boomers in terms of heading U.S. households. That is going to change pretty quickly, though. In 2014, there were projected 13.3 million households headed by Gen Y. And in just 3 short years, it's expected to increase by 65%. So obviously a lot of household formation going on for Gen Y and a lot of buying these types of items. Gen Y, as we all know, you know, are living in smaller spaces. They're renting. A lot of them, they love the urban areas. And as Rick had mentioned early on in the presentation, we do a lot of design trend tracking in some of our other services. And we can tell you that, you know, the taste and style preferences for Gen Y are very, very different than for the Boomers. So Gen Y really adores vibrant colors and modern designs. We track these design trends by room, so we can tell you, you know, what are the top colors they love in the kitchen versus the living room, what are the top styles, etc. Boomers, you know, obviously they're purchasing a lot too. They're doing well at this point in their lives, and they've entered an experiential life stage. They don't consider themselves old, and they have money to spend. They value family time, and that has led them to be entertaining in their homes much more often than the younger generation. It's often family focused, but friends as well. Obviously, there's a strong focus on health and wellness, and there's a lot of housewares companies out there that have taken advantage of that and done well pursuing that. And again, they have very different tastes in terms of the designs, the styles, the colors, the materials, etc., than the Gen Y. So you really have to develop your products appropriately. We saw, you know, one chart that Rick had shared up with the online sales, and this goes across the categories. So the average percent is 19%. And to me, that was surprising because, again, these are very low-priced items, but it just shows you the impact of, you know, e-commerce and what's going on out there is, you know, a lot of consumers are buying all different types of things online, including these low-priced items. So on average, almost 20% of the sales are coming from online. As Rick mentioned, the wedding market, much lower percentage. On average, these categories, only 7% of the sales are wedding-related. But as also he mentioned, you know, the sales for wedding purchases are 50% higher on average. And now I'm just going to turn it back to Rick.
Okay, so a little bit of a summary here. Homestats versus retail audits. We've tried to show you not only what's in Homestats, but also what's, what kinds of information you can derive from it, what kinds of analysis you can get from it, especially if you're purchasing more than one category. We have been asked often, well, how does this compare with retail sales audits? Well, it has some real advantages. First off, you can see we have purchaser demographics integrated with it. We cover all channels, all retailers, which many retail sales audits don't, and plus you also have to pay more for each and every channel as you add. We try to cover all brands, and we do. In retail audits, the agreement is generally that retail brands, meaning the store brands, are not available to you. They're covered up, though their volumes are generally reported. And private label is generally not reported. Do we provide national market size projections? Yes. Not really sure how retail sales audits handle that. I think they just report what they have, and it's up to you to figure out how it represents, whether it represents a national total or not. We don't have a dashboard for reporting yet, but that's planned for the future. Obviously, we are reporting at the brand level, not the product level, which is why we're a lot less expensive. And we're quarterly, not monthly, but again, our data probably doesn't merit being monthly. So that's kind of the difference. The way we look at it is, if there's no tracking service in your category, then Homestats is a great service for you. If there is a tracking service, but it's too expensive for your company, this is a great way to level the playing field. And if you currently subscribe to retail sales audits, this is still a great complement because it covers all channels of distribution, thereby allowing you to sort of allocate your projections. And it also brings demographic data with the purchase data, enabling you to get a bigger picture of who you're selling to. And we strongly feel that this is a great way to integrate with all of your marketing planning. And again, this is $14.95 per category per year. So again, the price is rather modest. As my hosts have told me, and I mentioned in the beginning, if you are interested in replaying this presentation, at the very bottom of the page, there's a link that is not live yet, but it will be live through the IHA site, probably in about a week. And you can see that you can contact me directly with questions by email if you like, or you can visit our Homestats site for information from right through our website. So that's our information. We thank you for joining us. And we haven't actually seen any questions come through. I hope we're operating this thing correctly, not that we are ignoring any. If you have any questions, though, feel free to call, email, or otherwise get in touch with us.
There is a question up on the screen right now, Richard.
Okay, that was Debbie from IHA. And I'm sorry to say I don't know how to find that question.
Oh, okay. It says, where can I get a detailed definition of each category?
Oh, okay. Let me see. Go to our website, and you'll see, if you go to Homestats, there's a couple pages there, and there's a definition of what's in each one in the product category page. Any other questions?
And the last question is, can we get a copy of this presentation? It will be uploaded to our website within a week or so, and the URL is at the bottom of the screen that is up.
Yeah, and if you like, or you can just email me right away at rick@designres, and I will send one to you.
Perfect. Okay.
Well, Debbie, thank you very much to yourself for setting this up, and to IHA for hosting this and for supporting the program.
No problem. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.